Yo, shalom, family. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day. Greetings to you guys, wherever you listening in from around the world. I'd like to welcome you guys back to another episode of the Daily Bread Podcast. Daily Bread Podcast is the place that we read the word of Yahuwah daily. And the podcast is presented to you guys by Living for Yahuwah Media Ministry, right? And I'm your host and your brother, Dalayahu Yasharal. And greetings, family. We gather here today to read another chapter. So, again, greetings. Thank you guys for joining. Come on in. Welcome. So, like we say, we read another chapter. We continue in our reading in the book of Yahusha, chapter 18 today. No, chapter 19. And we're looking at it, right? We're looking at it on the screen. We're reading chapter 19. So, we're going to get right to it. You guys already know that before we get into the word, we give you guys a brief recap for those who listen for the first time. Then we have open up in a quick prayer. Then we get into our word for the day. And after that, we will have a discussion, if necessary, about whatever is relevant that we read, anything that needs to be expounded on, explained. We go into it after we read the chapter. So let's get started. Again, hope you guys having a great, blessed day, great morning. So yeah, let's get started with the word. So as far as the recap goes, I'm gonna try to keep it brief because we're still relatively in the beginning of the book. If you looked at the whole scriptures, you would see like we still in the first 10%. So with that said, we've read the Torah. We read it from the front to the back, the beginning of the Bible to the end. We've read the Torah, and now we're on the first book after the Torah of Moses, with the first leader to lead the children of Yasharal after Moses' death, right? Yahusha ben Nun, aka Joshua, son of Nun. So this is his book, which means this book is chronicling his experience. He wrote it, right? He wrote it. It's titled after him. This is his scroll. It was a scroll titled after him, right? So that's what's happening. And basically, he is taking the children of Yasharal into the promised land, right? Moses led us out of slavery in Egypt through 40 years in the wilderness and up into the 40th year in the wilderness. But at this point, we turn the page and we are taking possession of the land that Yahuwah promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So that's basically what's going on, family. And again, we're in the book of Yahusha, chapter 19. If you're unfamiliar with anything we reading, anything we saying, if you want to start from the beginning to catch up, which we encourage, check out the previous episodes of the podcast, available wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, and anywhere else that has RSS feed, which means Apple Podcasts, whatever, Amazon Podcast, anywhere you get podcasts, you can find a Daily Bread Podcast from the book of Genesis, chapter 1, all the way up into where we are now, right? To the book of Deuteronomy, up into the book of Yahusha. So with that said, right, all praise to Yahuwah. Hope we all on the same page now. No pun intended, metaphorically speaking. So now it's time to pray. Again, just having that conversation, discussing the nation of Yasharal, all that we've been through, how faithful Yahuwah is, how he keeps his promises. That is a great backdrop and setup, right? Prerequisite to understand why prayer is important, why it's important to have communication with Yahuwah, Elohim, and again, just go before the throne, clean our slate off, get forgiveness, and just have a relationship with Yahuwah. That's so important. So that's definitely what we want to do. So we're going to do that. It's time to open up in prayer. So we're going to pray according to the Hebrew custom. We're going to stand up, at least face the direction of Jerusalem. Lift up our hands with open palms and talk to Yahuwah right quick. And then we can read the chapter, meditate on his word for the day. So that's the plan, family. Let's get it. So yeah, the prayer's on the screen. Let's go, family. Baruch atah Yahuwah, Eloheinu, Hamalat Ulam. Our Father who is in the heavens, permit your name to be set apart. Permit your reign to come. Permit your desire to be done on earth as it is in heaven. come before you this day, asking and praying that you give us this day our daily bread. We ask that you forgive us for our sins and our trespasses against your Torah and your commands, as we forgive our debtors and we forgive those who trespass against us. We also ask that you allow us not to be led into trial, but rather save us and deliver us from the wicked one. For yours, O Yahuwah, is the reign, the power, and the esteem now and forever. So these things and more we pray in the name of our Mashiach and sovereign Yahusha. Allah Yahuwah, Tudah Yahuwah, Yabarakat Yahuwah, Aman. Aman, Aman. So it is, let it be. Right. So again, praise Yahuwah. Yeah, so let's get into the word for the day, family. Let's see what they talking about. We as you know, again, Yahusha, the thing that he's known for the most is, again, taking the children of Yasharal into the promised land. He was one of the first judges of the nation, right? In Genesis early on, we referencing Israel as literally a person and just a family, right? We read about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. But ever since we came out of Egypt, when we say Israel or Yasharal, as we say in the Hebrew or the Abadi, Yasharal, we referencing a nation of people, right? Millions of people came out of Egypt. So from this point, it's a nation of people. So, man, I mean, you can only imagine like how you would have to, the things you would have to do to govern millions of people that have never been governed before, right? Literally. And a lot of these things are like first in the world, you know what I'm saying? So we just literally taking possession of the land, allocating different territories for different tribes or different families, so to speak, just to make it plain, different families in our nation, right? Different bloodlines, right? Different families, literally different families getting different allocations of the land. So that's exactly what's happening to make everything make sense. And again, this is very relevant as far as, again, genealogically speaking, right? Talking about genealogy, understanding that our people kept record of the birth, and not just the birth, but like the house of the birth, basically. Understanding where you came from, like lineages could literally be traced back. If we talking about the tribe of Simeon and the ancestry and the heritage of Simeon, is one leader, right? They had military divisions, right? Leaders of the 10s, leaders of the 50s, leaders of 100s, leaders of 1,000s, right? Leaders of 10,000. But we also had elders and just the heads of a house, right? If we talking about the tribe of Simeon, there was one person who was literally the prince or the leader, not the king, but like the prince of that household. Like that person is like the oldest bloodline descendant of Simeon, and that person would be able to trace their lineage back to their father. This is we're gonna talk about it, but for example, it would be Dalayahu, son of Lot. That's the son of this person. That's the son of this person. That's the son of this person. That was the son of Simeon. Like they literally were able to trace their lineage back 2, 3, 4 generations to know, like, I'm literally the great grandson of the progenitor of this family, this house, right? And that's amazing. That's amazing. As people coming out of captivity right now that can't do that, that's amazing, right? And we just see how special it was. Again, just to know our history, our genealogy, which a lot of people on the earth can do. For the most part, a lot of people can trace their heritage back, and they know their great grandfather was whatever from Europe or from Ireland or whatever. People in America, a lot of time, they able to know, like, oh yeah, my family been in America 4 generations. We came from this place, whatever. And no, it's no new thing, right? That's what we've been doing our whole existence up until, again, captivity. So let's continue. Let's get it. See what's happening in this chapter. So Yahusha, chapter 19, verse 1. And it reads, and the second lot came forth to Simeon, right? It's a Simeon and Abdi, the Hebrew, his name was Shama'un. which means he hears, right? Yahuwah hears. It's a whole story about Simeon, how he was born, the reason he's called that name. So gotta love that about Hebrew culture. Like, it's nothing without meaning, which is so special, right? So very, very, very special. So the second lot came forth to Simeon. Again, the land is being divided, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, right? According to their families. I just explained all that. And their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Yehuda. Again, Yehuda was the bigger tribe. These smaller tribes got proportional allocations, which means bigger tribes got a larger territory, smaller tribes got a smaller territory. And literally, some of the smaller tribes were very close, so in generally allocated into north or south, and just into very close to the territories of the larger tribes. That's what it's kind of talking about. Verse 2. And they had in their inheritance Beersheba or Sheba or Sheba and Maladah and Hazar Shual and Bala and Azam and Ali Talad and Batul and Hormah and Ziklag and Beat Marakabat and Hazar Susa. Verse 6. And Beat Ba'at and Sharuhan, 13 cities and their villages. A lot of names, man. A lot of names of places we're reading about right now. Verse 7. Ain, Ramon, Athar, Ashan, 4 cities and their villages. And all the villages that were round about these cities to Baalat, Baar, Ramat of the south. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Shamaun, according to their families. I hope that makes sense. Verse 19. Out of the portion of the children of Yehuda was the inheritance of the children of Shemaun, right, or Simeon. For the part of the children of Yehuda was too much for them. Therefore, the children of Simeon had their inheritance within the inheritance of them. So all of this is making total, complete sense. Again, once we get to the book of Kings and First Kings, Second Kings, and it's a split between the northern tribes and the southern tribes. The northern tribes basically being the tribes of Israel or Yasharal, and the southern tribes being Judah, right? You can see how this generalization of the north and south makes sense. They're telling us basically Simeon was in the south and had a part in the inheritance of Yehuda, right? Judah. I hope that makes sense. Continuing on. Yahusha, chapter 19, verse 10. And the third lot came up for the children of Zebulun, according to their families. And the border of their inheritance was unto Sarid, right? And their border went up toward the sea and Maralah, and reached to Dabashath, and reached to the river that is before Yoknaam. Verse 12. And turned from Sarid eastward toward the sun rising, until the border of Chrislatabor. That's a tongue twister. And then goes out to Deborah and goeth up to Yaphia, right? Goes up to Yaphia. That was verse 12. Moving on, verse 13. Verse 13. From there, it passes along on the east toward the sunrise to Gat Hafar, to At Kazin, and going on to Ramon, it bends toward Nia. Verse 14. Then on the north of the boundary turns about to Hanathon, and it ends in the valley of Yafatahal. And it ends at the valley of Yafatahal, right? Verse 15. And Qatar and Nahalal and Shimron and Yadalah, that's called Yadalah, and Bethlehem, Bethlehem, right? Bethlehem. 12 cities with their villages. So we continue to read about the territory or the inheritance, the land allotted to the tribe of Zebulun, right? We're reading about Zebulun. Zebulun. Okay, verse 16. This is the inheritance of the people of Zebulun, according to their clans or their families, these cities with their villages. So land is being divided. Again, this is just so geographically and logistically precise. It's giving us so many reference points that, again, we have a map. We can easily identify the boundaries and know the bounds of this promised land, right? Continuing on, the inheritance of Issachar. The fourth lot came out for Issachar. For the people of Yashakar, according to their clans or their families, their territory including Israel, Shasalut, Shunam, Haraphaim, Shion, Anaharath, Rabith, Kishion, Abez, Remeth, An Ganim, An Hadar, Beat Hazaz. The boundary also touches Tabor, Shahazuma, and Beat Shemesh, the house of the sun. And his boundary ends at the Yarden. 16 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the people of Yasakar, according to their clans or their families, the cities with their villages. Continuing on, the inheritance of Asher, literally, Ashar, happy. Verse 24. The fifth lot came out for the tribe of the people of Asher, according to their clans. Their territory included Halakath, Hali, Batan, Akashaf, Akashaf, Alam Malak, Ahmad, and Mishal. On the west, it touches Carmel and Shihor Libnath. Verse 27. Then it turns eastward. It goes on to beat the gun, and touches Zebulun and the valley of Ithafal. That's a tongue twister. Northward to beat Amak and Na'il. Then it comes to the north to Kabul, Ebron, Rahab, Haman, Canaan, as far as Sidon the Great. Verse 29. Then the boundary turns to Ramah, reaching to the fortified city of Tyre, right? Then the boundary turns to Hosa, and it ends at the sea. Mahalab, Akzib, Umar, Afak, and Rahub, 22 cities with their villages. This is, verse 31, this is the inheritance of the tribe of the people of Asher, according to their clans. These cities with their villages. The inheritance of Naphtali. Verse 32. The sixth lot came out for the people of Naphtali, right? He wrestles. For the people of Naphtali, according to their clans or according to their families. According to their families. How big they was, how much land they get. Verse 33. And their boundary ran from Halaf, from the oak in Zananim, and Adami, Nakab, and Jabneel, as far as Lakum, and it ended at the Yarden. Verse 34. Then the boundary turns westward to Aznat Tabor and goes from there to Hukuk, touching Zebulun, right? At the south, and Asher at the west, and Yehuda at the east at the Yarden. Making complete sense. It's even referencing the territories of the other aforementioned territories, right? Verse 35. The fortified cities were Zadim, Zar, Hamat, Rakat, and Chanareth, right? Verse 36. Adamah, Ramah, Hazor, Kadash, Andri, right? Or Endri, Anhazor, Yerun, Migdal, Al, Haram, Beat Anat, Beat Shemesh, 19 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the people of Naphtali, according to their clans, the cities with their villages. Now, the inheritance of Dan, verse 40. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of the people of Dan, according to their land, according to their clans. Verse 41. And the territory of its inheritance included Zerah, Ashtor, Ar, Shemesh, Shabal Labin, Ahi Yalan, Yatala, Alun, Timnah, Akron, or Akron, right? Al-Takah, Gibeathon, Baalat, Yahud, Bana Barak, Gat Ramon, and Ma Yarakun, right? And Rakun, with the territory over against Joppa or Yapa. Verse 47. When the territory of the people of Dan was lost to them, the people of Dan went up and fought against Lashem, and after capturing it and striking it with the sword, they took possession of it and settled in it, calling Lashem Dan, after the name of their ancestor. People took our genealogy, naming stuff, our landmarks, and just territorial boundaries very serious. Verse 48. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the people of Dan, the judge, according to their clans. These cities with their villages. Inheritance for Yahusha. Okay. Verse 49. When they have finished distributing the several territories of the land as inheritances, the people of Yasharal gave an inheritance among them to Yahusha, the son of Nun. Literally, Yahusha by Nun. Verse 50. By command of Yahuah, they gave him the city that he had asked, Timnath Sarah, in the hill country of Apharim. And he rebuilt the city and settled in it. These are the inheritances that Eleazar, the priest, or the Kahan, Eleazar HaKahan, and Yahusha Benun, and the heads of the farthest houses of the tribes of the people of Yasharal, distributed by lot at Shiloh before Yahuah, at the entrance of the tent of meeting, so they finished dividing the land. Hallelujah. And just reading this, we could just see clearly how this book, quote unquote, is one continuous scroll. For the last 4 chapters, we've been reading about this one instance or episode that just took place in one day, really. And they was literally in front of the tent of meeting at Shiloh, but it broke it down to like 4 chapters over the last 4 chapters. Inheritance of this place, and this very last chapter, they put like 5 or 6 tribes in one chapter. But really, it is one scroll and one continuous thought. And it just reminds us of this, because the last 4 chapters, everything we've been reading has been the events of like one day. You know what I'm saying? So, but it just breaks it down for us. These days, this time, we have the chapters or the scrolls broken down into digestible bite-sized pieces for us, so to speak. And that what makes it, it's cool. I think that's okay. It makes it even more better for us to read in this day and age. Again, the fact that it is digestible. We're not just reading one continuous long scroll, obviously written in Hebrew, and you wouldn't know where to stop and start. And it would just, the Daily Bread podcast would be a whole different format. So but it's important for us to understand that, though. Like, this is one thought, right? It's not chapter. They didn't make these. Our forefathers did not put chapters in them, right? It's one scroll, one continuous thought. The last 4 chapters have been the event of one day. They divided the land, but we've been able to break it down to digestible, understandable episodes for us, right? and for you all, and for us to clearly understand what happened. And what happened is what we think happened. The land is being divided, right? And so all praise to Yahuwah. Again, this is very relevant. Yahuwah keeps his promises. Abraham is not here to see this. Isaac, Yishkak, Yaakov, Jacob, they're not here to see this, but Yahuwah is very much real and very much true, right? Yahuwah is the existing one. So what shall we say then? As far as words of encouragement and just meditation, what do we take from this chapter, from these last couple chapters? And for me, it's always, again, like I say, Yahuwah's name is real. It means the existing one. It's just important for us to understand. We might not be around to see the kingdom come, right? We reading about these things. We got a certain expectation we looking forward to, right? We looking forward to our people fleeing slavery, right? Fleeing Babylon. We continue to read about the destruction of Babylon. We're looking forward to it because we know that happened before the kingdom come, right? So we're looking forward to the kingdom coming and the things that happened before that, destruction of Babylon, the regathering of the children of Yasharal. But, again, looking back at our history, we got to remember the scriptures tells us in New Testament, I forgot who wrote it. I'm going to say Paul wrote it, but the scriptures tell us, period, all of these things are written for our understanding. So we're reading this to understand what? We understand that no matter whether we see Yahuwah's promises come to pass or not, let the word of Yahuwah be true and every man a liar. Right. For me, that's the meditation I get from the day. Literally, again, we reading about landmarks and places, genealogy, so to speak, geography, but today it's not so relevant. Nobody gonna go to these places today with the book and say, this is my land, this is what we're gonna go to Shiloh and meet up and squabble with these people. We ain't finna fight nobody. But what is the message? What's the point? The point is Yahuwah's word is true, and we should know, like this there yet remains a promise to be fulfilled. There remains a rest to be entered into. There remains land to be had. The promised land is still before us. So what does that mean? We continue. What should we do? How does that affect us today? Continue to guard Yahuwah's word, right? Continue to trust and believe. Continue to guard his commandments and live. I think that, not make it too long. I don't want to over, romanticize it, but it's a lot said here, and it's just amazing. For me, amazing to look at the track record and history of Yahuwah, his faithfulness, his steadfastness. And today, if you hear his voice, harden not your heart, it is what it is. So yeah, that's my thoughts and reflections for the day. I feel like it's a great chapter. Yahuwah said a lot, and just amazing, truly amazing how Yahuwah is fulfilling his word to his people. Like it's awful, right? It's awful, awe-inspiring. It's amazing to see, hear, understand that what Yahuwah is doing for Yasharal. And so for the nations, whoever listens to this, if you're not a part of Yasharal, get down and lay down. You know what I'm saying? Like, welcome. It's free. It's no high priest to go to. It's no temple you got to go to. You don't got to take a lamb, make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. If you hear his voice today, harden not your heart. Make sure, prostrate yourself, pray before him. Get forgiveness in the name of Yahusha, and welcome to the family. You know what I'm saying? And again, continue to read, learn, understand, conform your life to this covenant and righteousness, and seek out one of his servants and get immersed and welcome to the family. Because in this day and age, in this time, this is what the world need to hear. This is what people need to be moving towards. And it's just that simple. It's just that simple. And just talk about the grace, right? The grace and mercy of Yahuwah, right? That all this time, 2025 years since they murdered Mashiach in Jerusalem, and he's still letting the nations, the time of the Gentiles, yet to be fulfilled fully, right? Still giving y'all time, still grace and mercy. It's like he's so good, right? He's so good. He's so good. And that's it, man. We sharing them with the world, with the nations. The time of the Gentiles is being fulfilled. These things is coming to an end. Trust me, it won't go on forever. It won't go on forever. And if you, again, a part of the nations, just look and see what Yahuwah did to his people. The very people that he loved, right? Talking about the apple of his eye, right? Talking about Abraham, his friend, the descendants of Abraham, what he did to his people, right? Slavery, captivity, castration, being fed to the sharks, being ripped apart limb to limb, being removed, children being taken, ripped out of the arms of their parents and sold in slavery to never be joined again, right? Kicking us out of the homeland, kicking us out of the promised land because we sinned against him, never to return to our homeland up until this point, 2025 years. So if he did that to his chosen people, what's going to happen to your lineage? All right. Peace. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I'm very interested to hear y'all thoughts in the comments. Until the next chapter, until the next time, until the next episode. Shalom, 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 family. Have a blessed day.